One of the most common questions that we are asked by our clients is,
how can I protect my children's inheritance?
This is often followed by two more questions.
Will I need to sell my house to pay for care? And what happens if my spouse remarries after my death?
Well, the children could lose out on their inheritance. So, what can be done to protect the money you want to leave to your children?
Let's look at ring fencing that inheritance.
Here's the scenario.
Patrick and Patricia are married, have 2 children and a beautiful family home that they have worked so hard for.
The house is owned by Patrick and Patricia as joint tenants. That means that each of them owns 100% of the property, and upon one of their deaths, the property will pass to the surviving spouse outright.
This is how the majority of our clients, and probably you, hold your home.
So, if Patrick dies first, the whole house is left to Patricia.
But what about the children? What if Patricia needs to go into care?
As the whole house is owned by Patricia, the entire value could be taken into account when assessing her means to pay for care.
This could mean the house has to be sold and all the proceeds could be used to pay for care.
Or, if Patricia remarries, then her new spouse could inherit the family home.
So, what can we do to prevent this?
Let's split that tenancy, making Patrick and Patricia tenants in common, each owning 50% of the property.
This means each of them have ring-fenced their share in the property.
We then write a trust into the will, safeguarding the child's share and allowing the surviving spouse to live there for the remainder of their life.
Let's have a look at that scenario again, with a trust in place. Now, if Patrick dies first, Patricia is able to remain living in the family home until her death, and she still owns 50% of the house.
The remaining 50% is owned on trust by the children, but they cannot access this until their mother passes. This protects Patricia during her lifetime, but also protects the children's inheritance.
And what happens now if Patricia needs to go into care?
Now, only 50% of the home is owned by Patricia, and so only this is taken into account when carrying out the means assessment.
That's good news. At least half the home could be saved and passed to the children. But what happens if Patricia remarries?
Depending on how Patrick wanted the trust set up, it could state that if Patricia remarries, then the trust ends and the children are entitled to their 50% share of the property.
Patricia will still own her 50% of the house to do with as she pleases.
This may sound complicated, but honestly, it's not.
If you want to discuss your situation and what works for you, get in contact for a completely free consultation.